Welcome into episode number 5 of the Boys Collective with KG and Broaddus right here on 105.3 The Fan here on YouTube. Of course, my name is Kevin Gray. You got the Super Bowl winning scout at 1/4 of the G-Bag Nation, Bryan Broaddus. Bryan, what's going on? It's Friday, getting ready for the Cowboys and Patriots this weekend.
Yeah, it's really unusual, KG, that you get an opponent, like this. It's not often that you get to see the New England Patriots, but because of the addition of the 17th game, the Cowboys draw. They couldn't draw the Jets or somebody like that. They had to
right.
They had to draw Bill Belichick.
Couldn't get Jacksonville this time around.
Yeah, couldn't. Yeah, the way it all breaks down, you couldn't get somebody that might have some problems out there, but should be a really good test for the Cowboys this week. Not only for Kellen Moore, for Dan Quinn, this whole team. I mean, a 4-game winning streak has been pretty impressive from the Cowboys. Is so far so good, as they say.
You can make sure you subscribe to 105 The Fan on YouTube so you can get the notifications when the episodes drop. This is also, of course, on 105thethefan.com and our social platforms, so be sure to check it out there. And this is our Friday show, which means it's game preview show. The Cowboys visiting the New England Patriots. The last time the Cowboys were in New England back in 2019, the Cowboys in a rainy, kind of wet, kind of soggy, drag them out, rock them, sock them kind of game. The Patriots are able to use their defense and special teams that day to be able to get a win there. This time, though, no Tom Brady for the New England Patriots, of course, member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but Bill Belichick is still there. This Dallas Cowboys team, though, comes in on a 4-game winning streak, looking to move to 5-1. Meanwhile, the New England Patriots 2-3 on the season after beating the Jets to get their first win of the season, then last week beating the Houston Texans to earn their second win of the year. That kicks off our Cowboys Patriots preview right here on the Boys Collective with KG and Broaddus, episode number 5. So let's dive into this. So a Cowboys football team, we'll start on the defensive side, a team that's number 2 in the NFL in takeaways, right behind the Buffalo Bills, also number 2 in turnover differential, again behind the Buffalo Bills. Trayvon Diggs been dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury. It sounds like he will be good to go as we're recording this for Sunday. He'll be listed as questionable, but should be ready to go on Sunday against the Patriots. What can the Cowboys exploit on the defensive side going up against Mac Jones? Speaking of Trayvon Diggs, Mac Jones and Trayvon Diggs, former teammates at Alabama. What can this Cowboys defense expose offensively for the Patriots, especially in a quarterback of Mac Jones, who, yes, is a rookie, but is completing over 70% of his passes so far this season?
Yeah, I think that, KG, when you talk about the Patriots, it really does start, with what they want to do with Mac Jones. They moved on from Cam Newton last year. Cam Newton didn't play his best football, and there were some questions about he's still banged up and all that. And they drafted Mac Jones. Last year, been talking to people in New England. Mac Jones really outplayed Cam Newton. And the one thing that I've learned about Bill Belichick is that he believes that when at that quarterback position, you can't fool the team. If you have a quarterback and you're playing him and he's not getting the job done, the team knows that, and they will turn on that guy. And then they clearly felt like that Mac Jones throughout the spring and then into the summer outplayed Cam Newton. But where the Cowboys need to take advantage of Mac Jones in this game is really his lack of experience. And he's of the young quarterbacks that played, I mean, I'd have to say him and Justin Fields, those guys have done a pretty nice job. They immediately put him in from the word go, and he's had some success. Does the offense, I mean, it moves kind of slowly with him. They don't have these huge chunk plays. They do have problems in the red zone. They tend to kick a lot of field goals when they get down there. They haven't scored a lot of points. And, that happens with a rookie quarterback. And I think where the Cowboys can take advantage of this is if they can, in fact, put pressure on Mac Jones to have to play a fast game and make him have to think have to make decisions, have to do it at a quick pace, to where all of a sudden, though, you tend to see mistakes. We've seen a game where he's had multiple interceptions in the game. He tends to throw the ball, KG, in the middle of the field. Things on the outsides are more of the hitches, screens, things like that when you watch him play. So how the Cowboys play at safety, how they play at their drop linebackers in those zones, and then how they're also able to carry routes into the middle of the field. That's the thing that we've seen with both Diggs and Brown, their ability to carry some routes in the middle of the field and make those plays. So yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a game where it might be a little bit of a smaller field type of a game. I mean, the passes you've seen Mac Jones throw down the sidelines, whether it's to Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Myers and those guys, he hasn't hit on those passes. He hasn't shown the accuracy, but everything underneath has been really, really good for him. So I kind of feel like the Cowboys need to keep everything in front of them, drive on every ball, try and knock him in the air. I mean, he had an interception in the New Orleans game where the ball was knocked in the air because Jonnu Smith was coming across the middle and really just volleyballed it in the air. So, those are the types of things. I think Cowboys can turn him over, and I think it's going to have to be, again, keeping everything in front, driving on those balls, and then trying to make them contested plays, make him have to throw into some tight windows in this game.
I do also think there's some opportunities for this Cowboys defensive line to try and get some pressure on what's been a very banged up offensive line for the New England Patriots. They've dealt with injuries, dealt with COVID issues. I think this is a real chance for Randy Gregory, who had a couple of sacks, a couple of weeks ago, still continuing to get pressure on the quarterback, but also for Osa Odighizuwa in the interior of this line to really try to create some pressure up the middle. Because I think, to your point, drawing on the inexperience of Jones, a lot of that can be had for the Cowboys by simply making things uncomfortable for him, rushing him, making him get out of rhythm. Because I think one of the things that's made him okay so far, especially with the high completion percentage, is that you're giving him low percentage throws. You're not necessarily making him push the ball down the field or make quick decisions to have to try and force the issue on him. So if the Cowboys, I think, can force the issue a little bit for Jones, I think you could probably make things a little bit more difficult for him as you go into Sunday potentially.
Yeah, that's a really good thought there, KG. Because to me, you're right about the offensive line situation with they've dealt with the COVID stuff. They've had to use some backups. Kajust, one of the tackles, has played. Ted Karras has had to play. So yeah, if Osa can continue to get the push that he does inside, Randy off the edge, you're going to see probably a little bit with Parsons coming off the edge as well in this game. Those are the kinds of things, make him have to get rid of the ball. He wants to get rid of the ball quick, but he will also throw it to spots. You just have to be ready for when he throws it to that spot that you're in position to make that play.
The Cowboys are one of two teams this season, including Buffalo, yet to allow an opposing quarterback to record a 100 passer rating through 5 games this season. So that kind of gives you an idea of how the Cowboys have been playing against the opposing quarterback so far this year. Let's switch things to the offensive side of the ball for the Cowboys going up against Bill Belichick and this defense. I think it's a little bit deceiving when you look at some of the numbers for the Patriots and how good they've been in terms of their passing defense. They've played quarterbacks such as Zach Wilson, who they were able to get 4 interceptions against, Davis Mills of the Houston Texans. Jameis Winston, though, was able to get 28 points for the Saints against this Patriot defense. How do you look at the Patriots defensively and where Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott and this offense could potentially expose some things offensively against the Patriots this weekend?
Yeah, I think, KG, where the Cowboys offensively have to look is Bill Belichick, and in talking to people around the league that do advanced scouting for some of these other teams, and what do you expect from Bill Belichick? And, my guys were telling me Kellen Moore and this offensive staff have to be ready to adjust series to series. It's going to be, it's not Bill Belichick is going to figure out what you're doing in the first quarter. He's going to make adjustments in the second and the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, he is going to find a way to show you something you haven't seen all game. And then, maybe you get it down a distance, it's a 3rd and 5, and all of a sudden he comes with a blitz with Dietrich Wise or something like that, or, Chase Winovich, something like some crazy scheme blitz that, gets you off the field, creates a turnover. That's with the Patriots. They're always going to be a team that, they don't want you to run the football. They're going to give you a look like they're playing a heavy box, but they're really not playing the heavy box because they're playing with dime personnel and they're walking safeties down. They're having safeties deep, but walking safeties down. It's much like what Dan Quinn's doing. It's like, it gives you that illusion that, okay, well, you can't run the ball, but they're really playing coverage behind it. So, yeah, I mean, I think that, with hearing this morning that Tyron Smith is going to be available, that was good news. I mean, yesterday afternoon on Thursday after practice, we got word that he was having an MRI on his neck. It seems like everything has come back normal. And so that's great news for the Cowboys. You didn't want to be in a situation where, again, Lyle Collins is out. This is his final week to be out. You're going to have to shuffle Ty Nsekhe over there at left tackle. I mean, we've seen what happened with the Cowboys when they have both their offensive tackles out. Mm-hmm. It's just not a good proposition. So, yeah, this is going to be a game where it adjusts series to series. And if the Cowboys can kind of follow along like that, and they could put pressure on New England is not going to let you run the ball. Bill Belichick is going to look at the film from Tampa. He's going to look at the film at Philadelphia, where you had 3.4 yards and then like 3.9 per carry. He's going to look at those games and see what those teams did. Now, we know with Tampa, it's a lot about personnel, but Philadelphia, we'll see. I mean, they've got some good personnel up front as well. So, it will be it. If they choke the run, then it's going to be, okay, Belichick is then going to take away your best weapon. And the best weapon for the Cowboys through 5 weeks has actually been Dalton Schultz. Mm-hmm. And so, that's, if Belichick when he had the press conference earlier in the week, he mentioned 2 players by name when he was really describing. He was talking about Dalton Schultz and he was talking about Pollard. And, he's not going to let those backs run the ball on him like some of these other teams have. He's going to try and choke that run, and then he's going to try and take away a Dalton Schultz. Now, can Cooper, who's, had, 3 catches kind of games, and can also then CeeDee Lamb, who played much better last week, can those guys get into the game and make some plays? It's going to come down to that, I think, in this football game.
So one thing I find interesting about this game is, the New England Patriots play more cover one man than any team in the NFL. They match up with your corners. They got your single high safety and say, okay, here we go. Now, what I find interesting for the Patriots is this Cowboys offense is a rhythm offense. Timing, able to get the ball out quick with Dak Prescott to the receivers here. One thing that we've seen from Bill Belichick defenses in the past when he's gone up against high-powered offenses is that he allows his corners to get physical with the receivers. Help me out here. I may be wrong, but I feel like there hasn't been a team yet that's physically challenged these receivers at the line of scrimmage, tried to get some press coverage, tried to play, some bump and runs, try to do some things to throw off the rhythm of these receivers. Is that something with J.C. Jackson and, in this secondary of the Patriots that they could possibly do to try to throw off some rhythm for the Cowboys on Sunday?
I think so. I mean, we had a chance on 105.3 yesterday to talk to Amari Cooper, and Jalen Mills is one of the starters at New England, and he's very familiar with Jalen Mills as a player. And so, that's something I think that, you have to kind of, keep in mind that, usually with these, you play an opponent you don't normally see. It's like, okay, I've never seen this guy, or I haven't ever worked against this guy, but he has familiarity running routes against Jalen Mills. And actually, to be honest with you, KG, Jalen Mills looks better playing in New England than he did playing in Philadelphia. So, that part of it you have to be a little bit nervous about. But yeah, I could see them being a lot more physical with Mills, and I could see them being physical with Jackson as well. and then trying to kind of be disruptive of the timing that you're talking about, though. If they take Schultz away, that safety blanket, if you want, away, can the Cowboy receivers on the outside? That's going to be the game. I mean, if it's no run, no Schultz, can you win on the outside? If the Cowboys don't win on the outside, then they're not going to win this game. That's just the way it's going to be. So, Coop's going to have to be on it, and then Lamb's going to have to be on it. And then also, too, what we see also from Wilson and Brown, what they're able to contribute as well. That might be kind of one of a dark horse guy that makes, has 5 or 6 catches early in this game to kind of get things stable again for the Cowboys.
Interested to see how Dak Prescott handles a blitz. Dak Prescott this season leads all NFL passers with 10 touchdown passes on blitzing passing situations. Yeah,
amazing. He's the most blitz quarterback. I think it's almost 39% on drop back passes if you follow those numbers and stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's the trick here. If you better get home before he gets the ball out, or you're likely going to give up a big play. And the fact that the Cowboys at least have their offensive line intact, with the exception of the right tackle, but he's played 4 games and they're 4-0. So you have to feel pretty good about their situation if they have to pick up blitzes in this game.
Additionally, for the Cowboys, second in the NFL in rushing, averaging over 173 yards per game. You talked about how Bill Belichick's like, hey, we're not going to allow this team to run the football. That could mean Dak Prescott has a big day if his receivers are able to win their one-on-one matchups to try and take advantage of this Patriots secondary. So keys to victory then. How did the Cowboys ultimately walk out of New England with a win for the first time in New England since 1987 to move to 5-1 on this season?
Yeah, I think it's going to be important I think they have to make Mac Jones play. I think they have to make Mac Jones play fast in this game. I think they're going to have to make him, if you can find a way, if they could get up where they've had some success, where they can build a little bit of a lead, say you get a 17-3 kind of a situation, where Mac Jones is having to throw every single snap, you completely eliminate their run game, but you're going to have to make Mac Jones have to make a ton of throws. And I think that's going to be, it's like, pedal to the metal and just make these New England offense have to do something they're just not comfortable doing. And that's scoring a lot of points. At least right now, they're not comfortable scoring a lot of points. So to me, I keep that in mind. I think though defensively, you have to be able to, like you said, force some pressure, force him. Don't let him feel comfortable in the pocket. Be ready when the ball comes into the middle of the field. You don't drop interceptions. The Cowboys have done a nice job of, for the most part, of getting those interceptions. If Mac Jones throws you a ball, Curse, catch it, or Kazee, catch it, or Brown, catch it. You got to take advantage. The thing they've been feasting on these turnovers. They've been giving up a lot of yards in these games, but they've also turned these guys over a lot. And, take advantage. If Mac Jones wants to throw you 3 interceptions in this game, make sure you get all 3 of them.
Because when I look at this Patriots offense, Jacoby Myers, Nelson Aguilar, your receivers for the Patriots, I don't necessarily feel threatened by them, but at the same time, Aguilar's been in this league for a while, has big play ability. I'm interested to see how the Cowboys decide to move Trayvon Diggs around, given you don't necessarily have a true number 1 wide receiver, for this Patriots team, who he travels with, if he's moving around with different guys to give him some opportunities, because Mac Jones is going to give you chances to intercept the football. We've come to see this so far with his 5 interceptions so far this season.
Yeah, he is, KG. And, the player I would kind of keep an eye on is the guy they got from San Francisco is Kendrick Bourne. That is a big-bodied guy. And he seems to be the one guy that when it's the inside routes, it's the crossing routes, we haven't seen anything from N'Keal Harry at all, with what he's done, who knows with that situation. But yeah, Aguilar is going to be vertical. Myers is going to be somewhat intermediate. Bourne is going to be intermediate, maybe a little bit longer, but he's that bigger body guy that they want to get the ball to. when I've been watching him play, I've been pretty impressed by, what he's been able to do, catching the football and then run after catch. So, you're right. These running backs, they shouldn't scare you. Harris, Taylor, Stevenson, none of these guys should scare you from what you've seen in the past, few weeks with the Cowboys having to face these running backs. So, yeah, it's going to be about, can you, and I have a feeling though that you'll see Diggs kind of mix it up. It might be Aguilar one time, Myers another time, Bourne. I don't think it's going to be like you said. I think he's going to travel with various players depending on the scheme that they want to do that particular series.
That means Anthony Brown going to be on your P's and Q's on Sunday if Diggs is going to be moving around. And Brown, who's played better as of late, he's going to have some chances too to take advantage of on Sunday against this Patriots offense. So with that being said, do you have an X factor for the Cowboys on either offense or defense that Brian Broaddus particularly is looking at on Sunday and saying, if this player does this, the Cowboys have a real good chance of winning on Sunday?
Yeah, I do. I feel like, though, that this is going to be one of these games for Tony Pollard. And I mean this in a way of with the ability to run, but also the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. This Patriot linebacking core is a big physical group, doesn't cover particularly well. So I have a feeling, though, depending on, like I say, if they could get him in space, if they could get him the ball in hands, the underneath routes and stuff like that. But more importantly, those explosive plays. If he could average 5.5, 6 yards a carry, I think that would go a long way to helping this team win this football game. I kind of feel like that it's going to, maybe the Patriots, like I said, are not going to let him run. But if all of a sudden we see him, Ezekiel Elliott, having success running the football, I think that would be a great, great sign for the Dallas Cowboys. So I talk about Pollard, but maybe I should lump both those running backs into the mix here. If you see them having success hammering this New England front, it's going to set up a lot of things for the Cowboys going forward for their victory.
I think my X factor for me is looking at whether or not Josh McDaniels tries to decide, I'm going to look at this Dallas Cowboys defense, a defense that gives up a lot of big plays, and maybe try early on to see if Mac Jones is willing to push the ball down the field to try and throw a little bit of a wrinkle in with this offense, given the fact that he is as efficient as he is with his completion percentage. Let's see if Mac Jones does decide to take some chances down the field against the Cowboys defense that is willing to give up big plays at times. So for me, I think my X factor is Josh McDaniels offensively to see within the first 5 to 10 minutes how he is going to attack this Cowboys defense and how much he is willing to test, Trayvon Diggs in the secondary with, Aguilar and these guys, just to say, because I'm sure a lot of folks are looking at this receiving core saying there's not much to necessarily respect there. I'm interested to see if McDaniels takes that as kind of a personal challenge to see if Jones is willing to push the ball down the field. And if he does, what kind of chances he will take, because Trayvon Diggs' hands will be waiting for footballs if that is the case. Before we wrap up here, a couple of notes to get folks ready for this game. If you're a betting person out there, the Dallas Cowboys are undefeated against the spread this year. They're 5-0 against the spread. So if you're looking for some little betting tips, there you go. The Cowboys 5-0 against the spread this year. They are at this point a 3-point favorite on the road against the New England Patriots. So look, it's going to be a lot of folks thinking this might be a little bit of a tight game. I think more so because the healthy respect that they have for Bill Belichick and his ability with his defense is to be able to try and make things difficult for his opponent. I don't know necessarily if he's going to have an answer, because I think the best thing about the Cowboys is not just the balance that they have struck on offense in terms of being, fifth in offensive efficiency, and they're seventh in defensive efficiency, the only team in the NFL in top 10 in both, but they're multidimensional. If you try to take away something here, they've got a way to beat you here. If you try to take away something else, Kellen Moore, for the most part this season, has been able to figure out a way to beat you. So Kellen Moore versus Bill Belichick is going to be a lot of fun to watch, given the chess match that I think these two are going to play against each other on Sunday.
Yeah, I think Kellen has to be careful here. Don't get psyched out by the guy on the other side of the field. Figure out a way. You've got good personnel. You don't have to, scheming and stuff is good, but stick with your game plan. Stick with what you know stick with the things that have kind of got you to this point. I hope that Kellen Moore or these coaches don't start to freak out because they're playing against Bill Belichick. He can psych you out in a lot of ways because you're thinking, oh my gosh.
Ask Sean McVay about that.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's going to be one of those things. So yeah, Kellen needs to just kind of, maintain a levelness about his game. And then, they've got the personnel that could beat New England. It's just don't get too psyched out playing the guy across the field. Make sure it's about the players and not about the coach.
Last thing I'll say on that, and I believe this is correct, this is the first time that Dan Quinn has shared a field with Bill Belichick since the last time he faced him, went back in the Super Bowl when he was with Atlanta as a head coach there. So I'm sure there might be a little extra juice for Dan Quinn this week, knowing the last time he shared a field with Bill Belichick, it was not good for Mr. Quinn walking off the field against a Bill Belichick team. I know Tom Brady was there that day, not there this time, but at the same time, I'm sure he has a little bit of feeling about it. Do you have a score for us? Are you willing to give us a score for Sunday?
Absolutely. Yeah, I kind of feel like that just thinking about this, I think it's going to be kind of a weird score game. The Patriots tend to get in these weird score games because they kick so many field goals. I'm going to say that the Cowboys are going to win this one 27-16. I kind of feel like it's going to be, I don't know if the Cowboys will get to their 30 number that they normally do. I think they'll get close. But I like them. I like them here. Like I said, 26-16. I think that's going to be kind of the number.
Cowboys have a real chance to continue to put a stranglehold on this division in the NFC East after the Philadelphia Eagles lost at home to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What's interesting, the Patriots played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers well. They played them tight. Although the Buccaneers walked out of Foxborough with a win with Tom Brady, I have a healthy respect for Bill Belichick and what he's done throughout the years and throughout his tenure as a coach in this league. I'm going to say the Cowboys win in a close one, 24-20 on the road against the New England Patriots. I think Bill Belichick's going to throw a few wrinkles in there that could cause some issues, but I think ultimately the personnel of this Cowboys team is just better this time around. And I think for the first time since 1987, they walk out of Foxborough with the win, which means they will be 5-1 heading into their bye week before visiting the Minnesota Vikings on Halloween night. We'll see if the Cowboys can continue their momentum as they visit the New England Patriots on Sunday afternoon at 3:25 on your home of the Cowboys 105 through the Fan and on CBS. CBS's A-Team, Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson will be on that call there. And of course, on the voice of America's team, Brad Sham alongside Babe Laufenberg on 105 through the Fan. Brian, appreciate the time as always. Another episode of the Boys Collective in the books, and looking forward to a good weekend of football, sir.
Sounds great. Thanks, KJ.
Appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to 105 through the Fan on YouTube. The Boys Collective dropping every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Check us out and subscribe there. And this will be again on 105throughthefan.com and everywhere you get all things for the Fan. My name is Kevin Gray for the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus. We'll talk to you on Monday. Have a good weekend.